Oh boy, thank you for that. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for February 13th, 2025 for the Oceana County Board of Commissioners to order. And I ask for a motion to approve the minutes from January 23rd, 2025.
So moved.
Do we have a support? All in favor, say aye. Any questions or comments on the minutes as presented? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passed. Conflict of interest disclosure regarding agenda items. Do any board members need to declare the conflict of interest? Hearing none, changes to the agenda. Mr. Hardy, on number 16, the animal control truck, would you add in the lights and the decals?
Yep.
To that? Mr. Erickson, on the county policy change, to amend the county policy to permit department heads to hire a replacement employee for, and just cross out up to weeks in, but just say for advanced training purposes. To be determined by the administrator and the chair from the Finance and Personnel Committee. Or whatever close to that you're happy with, Mr. Erickson.
Very good.
Are you good with that one?
Yep, I think I got it.
And number 21, the drain commissioner employees, we'll take no action on that one either. That's on the second page.
Mr. McCormick's yes, no action.
So we have three different items that we have changes to it. Everybody familiar and okay with those changes?
Did we want to,
The per diem list
the
will
per
be
diem
changed to,
also 22?
I should be able to ad lib that.
Okay, with the addition of, yeah.
Yes. Number 22.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, adding the equalization RFP,
Oh,
Oh, equalization, we wanted to add the
RFP.
RFP. And will we use the number 22 for that? 2025-24? I don't see where 24 is anyplace else.
no, we,
Should work.
yeah.
Mr. Hardy, would you handle that one for us, please?
Sure.
Prior to the expiration of the existing contract. Are we all set?
I believe so. 3 changes?
Can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Here. Thank you. Changes to the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda with the changes?
I'll make a
So-
motion. Go ahead.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Beggs, supported by Mr. Erickson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Public comments. Mr. Beggs, Sheriff's Department AED donation.
I'd like to make motion 2025-15 to accept a donation in the amount of $1,713 from the Community Foundation for the purchase of an AED and allow the administrator to make the necessary budget adjustments.
Do we have a support? Moved by Mr. Beggs, supported by Mr. Erickson. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, and our thanks again to the donor for that. Mr. Hardy, animal control truck.
Yes, Chair, motion 2516 to approve the purchase of a 2024 Silverado 1500 crew cab four-wheel drive truck in the amount of $42,143 from Meyer Chevrolet, with the funds to be paid from the previously budget appropriation. And also in addition, not to exceed $1,000 for the addition of overhead lights and overhead light installation and decals.
Support.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. We've moved by Mr. Hardy, supported by Mr. Erickson. Any discussion?
It's another one of these things, and Tim knows as well as I do. This stuff's getting more and more complicated all the time, just unbelievably. And to have dealer support for a vehicle, a county vehicle, and to have a family that's been involved in our community for 7 generations, the last new car store in Oceana County, I would not shop elsewhere.
Well, I think we have to do our due diligence.
I'll go with you
on
on,
pricing.
I like Fords. Don't get me wrong, I like Dodges too. But if there's one new car store in town,
From my perspective, it's nice to be able to take a competitive bid from a car store in town. If it was $10,000 difference, it'd be very difficult. But they're a competitive bid, and he's been always very competitive. And when Mr. Beggs made the comment about installing lights, I'm coming to realize more and more with the more upgrading technology that there is.
Yeah.
Like on a pickup that I'm driving now, you just can't grab a hot wire and hook something up to it anymore like we used to put a clamp on and do them, because it's going to send fault signals all the time. I hook up a trailer to my truck that I have, and just as an example, if there's a brake light burned out on a trailer, if there's something, a blinker burned out on a trailer, it tells you. It comes up on the dash which one it is that's burned out. So, and you need the support with them.
and we had a large conversation this week with an insurance company as to what's changing in the industry. And, now we have dedicated scan people that are doing mobile service, and they're hauling them back to Grand Rapids, and they're going to open another store in Muskegon just for the specialty software that all the major manufacturers have. And Tim's got some, and I've got some, but it's getting so complicated now. If you're not up to date, it can change in 6 months. It's
Roll call vote for the animal control truck.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Erickson, the animal control employee.
I make motion 2025-17 to authorize the animal control director to hire a replacement animal control officer up to 6 weeks before the current officer's departure for training purposes, and to grant the administrator the authority to make the necessary budgetary adjustments.
Do we have a support?
I'll support Hardy.
Were we gonna change that 6 weeks? Cause
That's the next
or
one.
is that the next one?
That's the next one,
Okay,
the next one.
very good.
So, it's a good question. Any other questions on it? So the animal control employee will be 6 additional weeks, up to 6 additional weeks, because if the employee comes in and in 4 weeks, Mr. Garcia is happy with the performance of that employee, the other person wants to retire 2 weeks early. So it's going to be a maximum of 6 weeks. So it's very clear. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
And who supported that?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy? Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes. Mr. Erickson, county policy change.
Yes. This is amended from what you're reading on the agenda. I make motion 2025-18 to amend the county policy to permit a department head to hire a replacement employee in advance for training purposes, to be determined by the admin chair of finance and the chair of personnel.
Do I have a support?
I'll support.
Any discussion?
I think it's good to have that policy in there. Yep, people can act quicker, be more nimble, and not have to bring it to us.
Well, one of the good things about that policy, we're just dealing with, that Mr. Garcia said that his existing employee wants to retire. And this can make it a lot quicker, you know, instead of wait 2 more weeks for that employee to set the approval by the board.
Right.
You know, within a couple days, the committee chairs and the administrator can do it, so. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Hardy, opiate steering committee appointment.
Motion 2025-19 to appoint Mr. John Foss to the opioid steering committee as a representative of Trinity Health to represent healthcare providers.
Support?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. Mr. Erickson, Material Management Committee appointment.
Mr. Walker, I make motion 2025-20 to appoint Mr. James Nemick with Arbor Farms to the Materials Management Committee to fill the unexpired term of Don Squire to expire December 31st, 2029.
I'll support.
Moved by Mr. Erickson, supported by Mr. Beggs. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passed. Drain Commissioner employee request, we're referring that committee and not taking action on it at this time. Commissioner Beggs, the per diem list.
I'd like to make a motion 2025-22 to adopt the revised per diem list to include Michigan Works, Senior Resources, department head meetings, and also to include verbiage to allow additional per diem requests to be approved by the chairman of the board and finance chair.
Do we have a support?
Oh,
Moved by Mr. Beggs, support by Mr. Erickson. Discussion? Roll call vote?
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Thank you, board members. Mr. Hardy, the request for proposals for equalization contract.
Yes, Mr. Walker, this will be 2025-24, which authorization given to the county administrator to send out RSVPs for equalization services prior to the expiration of our current contract.
Do we have a support?
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. And it should be noted, and I apologize for not doing this right at the beginning, that Commissioner McCormick was excused by the chair for health reasons today. I apologize again for not bringing that up at the beginning of the meeting. Reports from the commissioners and department heads.
Payment of claims.
Pardon me?
Payment of claims.
Oh, yeah, let's,
Pay the bill.
payment of yeah, that'd be important, wouldn't it?
Might make some happy people. Might have
It'd
three
make some unhappy people if we didn't. Thank you.
Ask for approval of accounts payable and release of funds for Thursday, February 13th, 2025. Ambulance fund total $10,298.57. Cutwater Heart Trail fund total $35,142.71. Indigent Defense Fund total $30,807.52. Canine Fund $935.72. Department of Veterans Affairs $11,564.97. Technology Innovation Fund $12,368.88. Public Improvement Fund total $75,254.06. Building Department Fund total $20,122.31. General fund total of $553,284.44 for a grand total of $749,779.18.
Do we have
I'll
a support?
I'll support.
Moved by Mr. Hardy, supported by Mr. Beggs. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Beggs?
Yes.
Mr. Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Now, reports of commissioners and department heads, and thank you, Mr. Hardy. Mr. Erickson?
Couple things. I'd like to compliment, give praise to our medical care facility. In the past couple weeks, we've been dealing with our facility and the transfer of my brother, David, back to Hart. And of all the hospitals that we've been in the last month, the comfort and care that he's being given there has just been unbelievable. The sheriff's daughter is in physical therapy, and David brought up how wonderful it was to have Haley in there. All the administrative staff been just wonderful. The RNs, we're opening up more beds. There's more people. I said hello to Larry Snyder on the way in last night, Avery Wilson on the way last night, Louise Shaner on the way last night. The Zaverl brothers out of Shelby are in there together. How fortunate we are to have a facility that is of such high quality, and the level of care has just been wonderful, and how lucky we are to have that facility here in our county. And you know, even my brother said it was, you know, it's the best food and the best sleep he's had in the last 40 days. So, you know, and that's comparing it to the Trinity. You know, he had a penthouse suite in Muskegon for a month, and a beautiful room, a good facility, a lot of doctoring. And Henry Ford, excellent care down in Dearborn, tremendous. But, you know, getting home and having that burden released from the family for travel and time and miles and weather and everything else, being able to come home to a medical care facility such as we have has just been, it's really, really great. I can't tell you how appreciative we are of that facility, and he'd tell you it feels a lot like being home. So that's the biggest thing I've had this week. And you know, there was a meeting in Weir last week. The people, Pelham Township gave a proposal to the people of Weir for working on the Red Barn, and that's still kind of moving forward with the state, so that's been a little difficult, but still moving forward to find a home for the Red Barn.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Mr. Beggs?
I don't think I have anything to report today.
Thank you. Mr. Hardy?
Nothing to report at this time.
I just have something that I've thought about a lot lately, and probably too much. But with all the changes we're seeing in the Washington DC, and with all of the work we do with the other local units of government, and whether it was ARPA funds or whether it was budgeted funds or anything, or pass-through funds, I think if our administrator ever gets any notification that funds that we have been using are in jeopardy, that as soon as we get that, if it involves another unit of government or another entity, that information needs to be sent out right away. So they're not releasing bids, or not requesting, you know, proposals for action. Somebody's not making purchases thinking that money is going to be there. If that money, as soon as we find out, we need to get, like I say, whether it's another unit of government or a private entity or whoever it is that we're working with. I can't think of anything specifically now, but I know that community mental health is concerned about some cuts. And I know that there's other boards that we sit on that might be concerned, but as soon as we find out, that information needs to be disseminated out. And I'm gonna talk to our administrator about that next week.
Okay.
So, Jessica, do you have anything for us?
I don't.
Melanie?
We will be having May elections. We've got a Weir Township issue, a Hart Public Schools issue, and we just learned we have a Fremont issue that will be on Greenwoodsville. Yeah.
So, do the villages, general law villages have their elections this year? No,
They were encouraged to move to even year Novembers.
yeah, yeah.
Good idea.
What would happen if there's recalls? Can they do a recall at the May election? I know that's not a nice word to use.
Well, because most of these individuals were elected and they started as of 1/1 again with a new term, they need to wait a year prior
Okay.
to doing a recall.
Okay. So, well, good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be standing on the sidelines and watching that train go by. So,